Hello friends, welcome to my channel. In today's session we are going to discuss about CRUD operations in MVC with ADO.NET. In previous sessions we have discussed about CRUD operations with the DB first and code first. In this part of CRUD operations, today we are going to read the data from the database and we are going to bind the data also by using SQL stored procedures. For this, I'm going to use Microsoft Visual Studio 2019 and SQL Server 2012. First, we will create the database and tables and stored procedures. Then we will go to Visual Studio to create the project, perform the read and bind the data. Before continuing with this session, I would request you all, please subscribe to my channel and click on bell icon for notification alerts. I am using SQL Server 2012 and here I am going to pass server name and this is my SQL instance. If you have single SQL instance, then you no need to provide this instance name. If you have multiple SQL instances, then you have to use the instance name also. Here I am going to use my instance name and this is our SQL Server name. And I am going to use Windows authentication to connect with the database. If you want, you can use the SQL Server authentication and you have to provide the login ID and password for this. So at present I am using Windows authentication only. Click on connect. It's connected to my database server. Now we will create one database for our CRUD operations. Right click on the databases. Click on new database. Here we have to provide the database name. So this is my database name. And here you can select the path where you want to store your MDF and LDF file. I am selecting my directory for both MDF and LDF. Click on OK. Refresh on the databases. So our database has been created here. Now we have to create one table. For that, right click on the tables, click on new table. Here we have to provide the column name, data type and whether we are allowing nulls or not. So these three things we have to provide. So we are going to create one product master here. For that I am giving column name as product ID where its data type will be integer and I am not going to allow nulls. I am setting this as primary key. For that, right click on this column, set as primary key. And we are not going to insert any values into this column. For that, we have to set the identity so that automatically it will be increments. So double click on the is identity, it will be added by 1. So that means it will be incremented by 1 each time. So next column we will take it as product name. And we have to provide the data type and we are not going to allow nulls. Then we need price of the product and this will be decimal. I am setting as 8 digit and decimals I am allowing 2 and this also mandatory field and check the allow nulls. Then I need quantity column. This will be integer and I don't want to allow nulls. And finally I am giving one more column called remarks. If we have any remarks we can add into this column and I am setting as varchar and this is not the mandatory field. That's why I am not unchecking this allow nulls. Now click on save. Here it will ask for table name. We have to provide table name here. I am giving as product master. You can give any name here. Click on OK. So our table has been created now. We can refresh and you can check it here. Our table is ready. Now to read the data from this table, we need to create one stored procedure. For that, click on new query. create procedure. You can give full name as procedure also, and here I have to provide stored procedure name get all products. So this is my stored procedure name, and here as begin end. Here we have to write our select query, that is select star from dbo.tbl product master. This is our select query. Select the query and execute. So here we are able to read all the columns values here, and at present we don't have any value, that's why it is showing empty table. I will not suggest to use this star, because whenever you use star it will select all the columns available inside the tables. In this table we have 100 columns where we want only 5 columns. That time if you use star it will read all the 100 columns and it takes more time to execute the query. I will suggest whatever the columns required for you, just use that column name so that performance will be good. Like this. Here we are giving 5 columns. We need only 5 columns. In this case we have only 5 columns, that's why we mentioned as 5 columns. Suppose if we have hundreds of columns, that time if you want to filter few columns, then you can use column names like this. This will be the best method. And one more thing you can use with no lock. So why we are using this no lock here? If there is any deadlocks happens, that means you are using any insert or update query where you are not using commit run or rollback transaction, that time you will not be able to extract the data. When we use this with no lock, even though if it is deadlocks or happen, you can extract the data from table. So these two things are important while creating stored procedure or while creating any select queries. If you are new to SQL Server, then you can go to my YouTube channel and you can access one playlist called SQL Server tutorial for beginners. There we have all these basics. So now click on execute. Our stored procedure has been created. Select stored procedure, click on execute. We are able to extract the data by using stored procedure. Now we have completed our process from the database side. Now we will switch to Visual Studio. Here we are going to use Visual Studio 2019 for this demo. Click on create a new project. Here I am going to search for ASP.NET Web Application. Select the ASP.NET Web Application. Click on next. Here we have to provide our project name. It is RDLC Example. This is our project name, and here we can select the location where we want to save our project. I am selecting documents, demo, MVC. Select the folder, and here there is a checkbox called place solution and project in the same directory. If you select this one, your solution and project will be saved in the same directory. If you don't want to place in same directory, you can uncheck this. And here you can select the .NET framework which is latest available for you. I am selecting 4.7.2. in my case this is the latest, and click on create. Here select the MVC, and we are not going to use HTTPS here. We are going to use HTTP only. That's why I am unchecking this HTTPS. Click on create. Our project is creating now. So our project has been created now. So I am going to explain everything in step by step. Please watch this video till the end. First we will create a model. For that, right click on the models, click on add. We have to create a class. We will name it as product for this model, because we are going to read the data from the product master, and here I will call properties of all our table columns. Just type prop, double tab, so it will give the property for us. We need product ID, then we need another property called product name, that is string. So this is the data type and this is the column name. Then we need one more property which is price. It is data type is decimal. Then we need quantity. This data type is integer. Finally, we need one more property called remarks, type of string. So this is our model class, and this product ID is primary key. That's why I'm giving as key. Here we have to import one namespace called data annotations. So this is the namespace. And also these fields are mandatory. That's why I'm giving as required, so that it will validate that. And quantity also mandatory here. So remarks is not a mandatory field. Here product name I want to display like product name, and here we have to import one namespace component model. That's it, our model is ready. Now we have to create one connection string to read the data from database by using stored procedure. For that, go to solution, click on web.config, go to end of the configuration file. Before configuration, we will add the connection string. Here we have to add the connection string name. This is ADO connection string. So you can give any meaningful name here. Then we have to provide the connection string. First we have to provide the data source, so that is our server name. You can find this information on your SQL. Go to properties. So this is my server name. If you have more than one SQL instance, then you have to provide the SQL instance name here. Here we are going to use the Windows authentication, so that you can give the dot also, or you can provide the local also. I'm giving dot. Then we have to provide the database, that is called initial catalog. So this is our database name. Also you can make it as database also. This will also allows. Then integrated security equal to true. So in previous examples also we have discussed about these connection strings, why we are using integrated security. Whenever we use Windows authentication, then we have to provide the integrated security as true. Otherwise we can't connect to our database server. Our connection string is ready now. Then we have to create our data access. For that, right click on the project, click on add. So I'm going to create one new folder here to store all my data access layer related classes. Right click on the DAL folder, click on add class. So we will create one product, we will save it as product data access layer. Click on add. So from here we are going to connect with the database and we will read the data. For this we need few namespaces, system.data and SQL client required. Then I need system.configuration. First we have to read the connection string. For that, configuration manager dot connection strings. Here we have to provide the connection string name which is available inside the web.config. This is our connection string. This should match with whatever the name here we are providing, and we have to convert it as to string. So we are able to read the connection string from web.config. Now we will create a function to read the data from database, that is get all products. I am going to create one function which will return list of products, and here we have to provide our product model which is available inside the models folder. For that we have to import using MVC Examples dot models. Why I am importing this is, if you want to read this class, so we have to provide the namespace called ADO example dot models, then only we can read this class. Get all products. So this is my function name and it is going to return list of products. List of product we have to initialize here. This is the object we are creating. Here we have to return the product list. So now we have to call our stored procedure from here to read the data from database using SQL connection. I'm going to create one variable called connection, new SQL connection. Here we have to pass our connection string. Now I have to create SQL command here. Connection dot create command. Then I have to provide the command type. Command type dot stored procedure. We are going to use stored procedure. Then we have to provide the command text, that is our stored procedure name, so which is available in our SQL Server. And this name should match with our SQL stored procedure, otherwise it will throw the error. Then I need one SQL data adapter here. And we have to pass command to SQL. Then I need one data table to store the products, that is data table. Here I am going to open connection, then SQL data adapter dot fill. Just we have to add our data table and close the connection. So now we are getting data as a data table. Now we have to convert into list to return into our controller. For that I'll use for each loop. So here we will read each row from the data table and we will add into this product list. For that, data row dr inside the data table, that is dt products. So now we can read all the products from the data table rows. Now we can read these data table rows and we have to attach to product list. That is, we have to add product list dot add new product data table. Now here we will get product ID where it is available inside the dr product ID. You can copy the same column name because we are not going to change any column names here. Here it is throwing the error because this is the data type is integer. We have to convert into integer. Convert to int 32. Now it will not throw any error. Then we need product name, which is available inside the dr of product name, that is data row, and we have to convert this to string. Then we need price. This we have to convert into decimal. So just converting our data table into list, that's it. Then we need quantity. So this will be integer. Finally we need a remarks column. This will be string. Product list is ready. What we did, we are reading all the data from the database by using the stored procedure, where this stored procedure return data as a data table, and we are converting this data table into our list. We are reading each row and we are converting as the list of products. Finally we are returning product list. Now we will create one controller here. Right click on the controllers, click on add controller. Here we are going to use read and write actions so that it will create all the action methods for us. Click on add. Here we have to provide the controller name, that is our product, and it should be ended with controller. If you are changing anything else, it will not work. It will not treat this as a controller. Click on add. So by using scaffolding mechanism, it is creating all action methods. So our controller has been created now. So we are going to use this index method to get the data from the database. So now we have to call this data access layer inside our controller. For that I have to import DAL folder using, here we have to provide our project name dot DAL, because our data access layer is available inside this DAL folder. That's why I'm using edigo example dot data access layer DAL folder. So now we can access whatever the classes available inside this DAL. So now I'll call our data access layer here, product DAL. I will create one object, product DAL, new DAL. So now we can access all our data access layer contents inside this class file. Now I'll create one variable to read the product list, and it will be available inside product dot get all products. So now I'll be able to get all the products. I have to assign this product list to view so that it will bind into our product view. Here we have to create view now. For that, right click on this index, click on add view, select MVC view, add. So here our view name will be index, and you can create empty also, so that we have to write manually everything. So I'm selecting list, where it will create view for me. We have to select our model class, which is available inside the models, that is product class. Click on add. So our view has been created here. Now build the application. So there is no error, successfully building now. So we can run the application. So our application is running without any errors. So it is loading perfectly. At present we don't have any data in our table. So now we will add one alert here. If there are no records means, then it should display the alert saying that there are no products available. For that we'll switch to Visual Studio. Here I'm going to add one div. Class I will give as alert. I will add it as alert info, and here I will display message. For here we have to check is there any records available inside the product list or not. For that, if product list dot count is, suppose if it is 0, then I have to display the message. Here I will store the data in temp data as info message currently products not available in the database. This is message I am going to display here. So this is my temp data message. I have to pass from controller to view. Here before printing I have to check whether if temp data not equal to null, then only it should print the message inside this div. So I have to put this div inside the if condition. So now I'm going to print temp data. So this is my message I'm going to print. Run the application now. So now this message is displaying as we expected. Currently products are not available in the database. Also we have to add one close button here. For that I will change this style. Before this I will add like information. Here I am going to add one button. Type will be button. Class I will give it as close. These are all Bootstrap classes I am adding. Data, dismiss, alert, I have to provide the area label close. Here I have to add one span. I can provide this X to add as a closing. See, we can close now. Again reload this, and also we can use one shortcut called and times, so that it will add the cross symbol. Reload it, so this will be closed. To auto hide this message box, I am going to add one custom JavaScript file. For that, go to script. Inside this, I am going to create one folder to save all our custom scripts. Add new folder, custom JS. In this, I am going to create one JavaScript. Auto hide alert. This is my custom JavaScript file. So this is my function to fade out and slide up. So in previous examples already I explained about this. This is the speed, and this is going to fade 0, and this is the speed again, and this is the milliseconds. How many milliseconds we can keep that alert message, and after how many milliseconds we have to hide that message alert. That's what already we explained in previous examples about this. You can refer previous sessions. To call this file inside this index.cshtml, we have to import inside the shared folder, that is layout page. We will call this custom JavaScript file. Always you try to add before all these existing scripts. Just go to Solution Explorer. So I have to go to my scripts. This is my custom script. Just select and drag and drop here. So now you run the application. So it is displaying information now. So after 4000 milliseconds, automatically it's closing and sliding up. Now we will implement the Bootstrap custom styles to this create new button as well as to this table. We will apply styles to this create new product. Don't have any root values. Then here I will assign one new class. btn primary. This style I want to apply. This is my Bootstrap style. Run the application. So now we applied style for this button. Also now we will insert some dummy records inside this table, and we'll see how it's binding. Our SQL table, edit top 200 rows. So I'm going to add product name only, because we don't need to enter any product ID, because this is identity column. Automatically it will increment. So I'm going to add one more. We added 2 products now. Just go to page and reload it. So we are able to bind the data as we expected, and also our styles has been added to this table. So now we will change these styles of these buttons also, like edit details and delete also. For that, you go to the index page I have to add one new class here, btn primary. So this is the style I want to apply for edit, and the details also I'm going to add one, that is success, and finally for delete also I'll add one bootstrap style, that is danger. Here we have to close this, here also. Save and reload the page. So our bootstrap styles has been added, we expected. And I don't want this. And also we can remove this. We can provide some space here. After each button I'm adding space. Reload the page. And here I will provide it as action of this column header here. So like this we can use Edivo.NET to read the data from the database, and we can bind the data like this. In next session we are going to create new product by using Edivo.NET. That's it for today. Thanks for watching this video.